Okay, so I'm back. What I'm doing now is I'm just flattening down the two glued sides so they are nice and flat, and making sure that there's no pages stuck together currently. Going to quickly flip through and make sure that none of the pages are stuck together. This can be very messy, so be sure that you have clean-up napkins or baby wipes at your disposal. And I'm not worried about the crease here because I'm going to tape these. I'm not worried about the edges so much because that'll be covered up and it can be considered texture. That's what they call a and I'm going to take my brayer now and I'm just going to really flatten it out. So it has good adhesion on this two pages, because they're kind of thicker because they're the cover. And I'm just wiping off the excess glue. But you don't want to make it too wet because you will, when newspaper or paper gets wet, it ripples and then I'm going to take some masking tape and put it down these two centers here. And give that a good burnish. Now, the other ladies, I didn't quite catch how they created their books, but I thought it was a brilliant idea. I love the idea of recycling, so I'm not sure if this is exactly how they did it, but this is how I'm going to do it. You know, you kind of, teach yourself as you go along, you know. Don't be afraid to try something even when you don't have any, if you haven't been given instructions, you know. Create it your way. Do it your way. Okay. That's the inside now. Now, what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to take some duct tape and I'm going to tape the spine together on these two books to help give it extra support so they stay together. And then the one thing that the ladies did mention that's very important as you start working in magazine journals or any journals where you have multiple books together is that you work from the front and then the back and then the front and then the back, because if you just work from one side and continue on, your spine is going to warp and bend and your book will be all wonky. So just make sure that, you know, do a page here and then do a page in the back, page in the front and a page in the back. Keep circulating your art throughout the book so your spine doesn't warp. And this is just regular old Scotch duct tape, nothing special. I didn't pick out the color. It was given to me, so would have much preferred a black, I think. I'm just going to measure it, the length of the book. And eventually I'm going to put a cover on this and a back cover. Get out some of my scrapbooking paper so we're not seeing the magazine covers. And then I'm just going to take my bone folder and really burnish it onto the books. And don't worry about if any of the pages come out as you're working through the book. You can always tape them back in or tape them as you're working along with masking tape. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox. Get out my smaller scissors here so I can snip this little end. Okay, there we go. I'm probably gonna gesso the covers, at least to start, maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure I want to look at this every time I go into this book until I decide which paper I'm going to put on the front and the back. But we'll see how that turns out eventually. Anyway, that's it. Now you can, you know, the papers are magazine papers, so you know they're kind of thin. So you know you've got to make, you know, and some magazines have thicker papers. So as far as gluing them together, that's really going to be a decision as you start working through your book, and deciding whether, you know, you need to, you know, glue them together to make them more sturdy or not. These are somewhat thinner, so I may end up gluing some of these together, but then the hard part comes. of deciding which pages and images you want to keep, if any. Some of these pages might get completely covered and none of the images partly show, and others I may want to save some of the images and use them as part of my page. So gluing them together is going to be somewhat of a challenge as I start deciding where I'm going with the art in this book. My style, I'm still learning, and I know I like, you know, grunge to a point. I know that I like collaging with napkins in my backgrounds. You know, I've been playing around with different things. I'm still learning what colors work good together and color theory and all that. I think that's one of my biggest things to work on right now. I like I like not muted colors, but I like, you know, the pale colors. I like some of the bright colors, but it's learning how to incorporate them into making a complete piece of art that I'm still working on. And then focal points, and for the longest time I struggled, or have been struggling, with how to make the art my own and not infringe on any copyright, and come up with my own ideas. And one of the things with this journal is I'm hoping to just allow myself to relax and incorporate some of what's on the page into an art piece and be okay with that. Because I don't have a lot of tools in my toolbox. I don't have a lot of paints or sprays or inks, stencils. You know, I have a few things here and there. Eventually, I hope to, you know, gather a larger supply arsenal, but, you know, it's costly to do that. So one thing I will say to newbies is that, you know, take your time and dabble here and there to figure out, you know, what style is your style. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on different supplies. You know, buy a couple things from different lines of products and see what works for you. See, you know, what your style is. Do you like collage? Do you like painting? You know, that's I guess the first thing I would say. Anyway, we'll see how this turns out in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.